I left my wife and it took her over a week to notice, plus update. Original post. I, 35 male, was married to my wife, 35 female, for 8 years. I left her 5 years ago. We are child-free by choice, her choice. I had always said we had a good relationship in marriage, but looking back, I see that it was good for her. Here is my story. I've always been the nerdy type, smart, good grades, but never popular. I am from a very well-off family due to my grandparents' inheritance and some smart investments my parents did. I did not have to go to college or work and still have a comfortable life, but I loved what I did. I met my wife my first year in college. She was in my class and was looking for a tutor. She was a scholarship kid. We spent more and more time together, but never in the weekends. I wasn't the outgoing type and she would still go out on the weekends. After a while, we started going on dates, and after I graduated, we got married. Looking back, she started making decisions for us as soon as we got together. My wife worked the first half of her marriage, and when her company downsized, she got laid off. She became a stay-at-home wife who was not at home that much. She had a friend that she took trips with, and a bit of lunches and dinners with her friends, basically spent my money on her well-off lifestyle. While I remember our love life being passionate in the beginning, it's just that, a memory. When I was 29, I was involved in a car crash. They say a drunk driver totaled my car, but I still have no memory of that day. I was in a coma for 2 weeks. After waking up, I had to learn to do a lot again. After 4 months, I went back to work. When I came back home, my wife put me in the spare room. She said it has been like that a while because I was snoring. I kept my mouth shut, but I knew that this was new. The accident somehow gave me clarity of mind. I could see that the marriage has been over for a while, but I still wanted to see if I could save it. Everything I tried failed. Get out of the marriage, my friend. What sealed the deal for me was my 30th birthday. I came home and she was not home. She was having a spa day with her friends. I ordered takeout, watched a movie, and made a decision. I wanted out. The next morning, I wanted to contact my lawyer to start drafting the divorce papers. I stopped engaging with her unless absolutely necessary. Slowly, I started selling anything that had any emotional value to me. I left all her stuff for her. I bought a new car and left it at a parking garage not so far from our home. 1 month later, all I had left were my clothes and a couple of laptops, projector, portable screen, everything I needed to work from the road. I did not quit my job. I arranged for it to be completely remote. 2 months after my birthday, I stayed while my wife was at another lunch with her girls. I took the new car, packed everything I needed in it, left the divorce papers and a letter on my bed in the spare room, and closed the door to my house for the last time, wondering how long it would take for her to notice. I decided to drive across the country and visit every place I wanted to go, but couldn't because my wife didn't want to. We had a prenup, so she had no rights to ask anything. In the letter I explained, I told her I was leaving and I would leave her the house and the car and would pay a sum every month for exactly a year after she was on her own. In my own stupidity, I forgot to mention why I was leaving. This would work out in my favor. 10 days after I left, I got a text from my wife asking me where I was and if this was a joke. She called me, but I didn't pick up. I never pick up the phone while I'm driving. I had an automated text sent that said I'm driving and will call back later. She sent me a text after text after text. That night, I stopped in a motel and decided to read the text before calling her back. First, she was asking if this was a joke, then asking when I will come back, and then begging me to come back, not knowing why I left, and then she said something. She was sorry, and it didn't mean anything, and she will cut him off. She was having an affair, something I never suspected. I called her cell phone and she was at her parents'. I learned this tactic from TV. She started yelling at me and I hung up. I waited 1 minute and called back. She started yelling again and I hung up again. I waited 2 minutes and called back again. This time she wasn't yelling and I started talking. I told her that she was going to let me talk first, and after I said what I needed to say, then she could ask questions. I told her why I left. We were married but living like roommates. Not even roommates because they at least acknowledge each other. I don't remember the last time we had a conversation. The last time we did something together. I didn't remember the last time we had sex. But I know it was before the accident. I told her that for a month before leaving, I stopped talking and sold everything I had in the house, and she didn't even notice. That it took her 10 days after I left before she noticed I was gone. If she had called me on the day that I left, I would have turned around immediately. I ended with, "Thank you for admitting to the affair. I really didn't know about that." She tried to apologize, and when she asked me to come back, I asked her why. If she could explain to me why, I would consider it. What was in it for me? What would change? She couldn't answer, so I said goodbye and told her my lawyer knows how to contact me. Then I blocked her. The next day, I bought a new phone with a new number and left the old one in the motel. 2 weeks later, I got an email from my lawyer that the divorce papers were signed. I was free. I kept my word. My lawyer already had all the documents signed by me that would transfer ownership of the house and the cars to her. The bank automatically deposits a fixed amount out of our shared account every month for a year. Where we are now, for the past 5 years, I've been driving across the country working remotely. I finally had a reason to start social media. I posted online where I've been and where I'm going. I stay in a place for a couple of weeks and then drive to the next. My ex-wife started following me on Instagram a year after I left, and out of curiosity, I looked at her public posts. I'm not planning on following her back. She posted a pics with her boyfriend soon after I left. To her credit, she did not badmouth me, at least not in Instagram. 2 months after I left, they apparently broke up. That was the last time I really had an update of her. I also have a sex life now. Once I put myself out there, it turned out to be easier to have casual sex, no committed relationships. Now, after years, I'm going to go back to my hometown. There is a reunion I want to attend. I'm staying for a month, maybe 2, and then I'm going to Canada. I have no plans of looking at my ex, but I will also not actively avoid her. If I see her, I'll see her. If I don't, I don't. More info, a few things that were already answered in the comments. 1. People have asked me and even berated me for leaving her the house. The answer is actually very simple. I wanted to leave. I made up my mind that I was going to travel and didn't want anything tying me down. Selling the house would have taken too long. Leaving it to her was the fastest option. Additionally, my conscience wouldn't have allowed it. She might not be a good person, but I try to be one. Leaving her homeless would have weighed heavily on me. Remember, there's a reason I married her, because I did love her at one time. 2. There are people who think this is fate because I was traveling during COVID. The answer is not that simple, but can be summed up in 2 words: carefully and illegally. 3. About my work. I've been working remotely for the past 5 years. 3 years ago, I switched jobs to a new company and a position still remote. There was never a necessity to come into the office. I've invested in a satellite internet connection, yes, provided by the company. Now I have high-speed internet everywhere I go. I have KPIs that I need to reach every 2 weeks. I can set my own working hours as long as I meet those KPIs. 4. About Canada. I'm not migrating to Canada, just visiting. I visit one place for a few weeks, then move on to the next and repeat. 5. People have been asking for my social media account. I'm not going to share it. I come to Reddit for anonymity. I still have a lot of people I know who don't need to hear the story. My social media has been private for a couple of years now. Only extended friends and family are my followers. When my ex-wife started following me, I didn't know much about the privacy settings back then. Now I do, and I never bothered to remove her as a follower. 6. About the divorce being smooth. Listen, when I said she signed the papers, that didn't mean everything was set and done. I said I'm free because I felt free. The divorce proceedings still took some time, and when you have a good lawyer and you are traveling, court sessions can be done over Zoom. While it was relatively fast, it certainly wasn't 2 weeks. So her signing the papers was the moment I felt free, not the divorce being finalized. This is real. This is how my life has changed, but I can't force people to believe it. So to those who want to believe it's fiction, hope you enjoyed the read. P.S. Some people have made some Reacher comparisons. I just found out there is a TV show. I only knew the movies. Looks like I've got 2 seasons to catch up on. That's kind of cool the way that he lives. Doesn't stay in one place, but for just a couple of weeks at a time. Now for the comments before reading the update. Crazy story. This is a happy way for getting back on your own legs. Don't even meet her. She is selfish and horrible. Don't waste your time with her. She is a gold digger. Good story. You realized something was wrong and decided to leave your wife. That was smart. But I think that before the accident, she had her adventures. After the accident, when she decided to have you move into the guest room, she didn't want to be unfaithful to her lover with you. It sounds worse than that. He had to work to keep up with his wife's lifestyle, but once he was free, he didn't have to work anymore, so he could travel freely, but still sent her money every month. The super easy divorce with absolutely no negative effects towards him. Even with a prenup, no judge in the world would sign off on such a crazy divorce agreement, and any half-competent lawyer would have told his ex to contest it. Traveling without any problems during COVID and then just ending it with "I'm going to Canada" like that's something you can do. Canada has immigration laws just like the US. You can't just stroll in and be like, "I'm Canadian now." That's not how it works, and he would have a hard time staying because he hasn't worked in 5 years. He's actually been working, he just works remotely. I'm sorry you were used so badly and had such a heart-rending experience, and I congratulate you on your clarity of mind after being in a coma, to understand what was okay and what wasn't okay and to turn everything around. I think you decided to be decent but not to cut her slack. You were so crystal clear with her, telling her that if she had called you the day that you left, and I'm assuming said things that were sincere, he would have turned her around. I think what you did was you crafted a remarkable experience both for yourself and her, and now she made her bed and she's going to lie in it. And you're having the adventure of your life. I'm just really happy for you. Sometimes there's a happy ending. Wow, glad you came out fine on the other end. You didn't deserve what she did to you, but I'm happy you were able to pick up the pieces and move on. Good luck with your move to Canada. If you happen to see her while you visit your hometown, do you mind updating us on how the encounter went, if there is one? You're not the better person for leaving the house in the car to her cheating ass. You've only condoned her abuse, manipulation, and selfish behavior. It basically was a flag that said that you earned all this free money because you successfully deceived me for so long. Sorry all of that happened to you, but she won in the end. I wasn't trying to be the better person, I just wanted to get out of there. And now I'm out of a loveless marriage, no more wife that only wants my money. I'm traveling, I still have a job I love. I'm seeing all these beautiful places, making friends everywhere I go, having all these wonderful experiences. So in my book, I've won. Now for the updates. So I met my ex-wife, or let's rephrase that, we ran into each other, or rather she ran into me. I was at a cafe and just ordered lunch when a woman took a seat at my table. She looked at me in disbelief and said something like, "It's really you?" I must have looked puzzled. Then she said, "You don't recognize me, do you?" I took a closer look and recognized her. She looks different. Her hair is different in style and color. She's wearing glasses again. The last time I remember, she was in college, and she had modest makeup in contrast to the tons of makeup she used to wear. I'm not going to lie, she looked beautiful. She wanted to catch up. I planned on being cordial, so I told her we could have lunch together, but that I had plans afterwards. So I had her join me for lunch. Here's what I learned. Most of her friends left her because she couldn't afford their luxury spa days, lunches, trips, etc. She sold the house and now lives in an apartment. She has a job now, and that's where she met the guy she's seeing currently. She has a good life now, and it's normal, not extravagant. I know Reddit wants me to hate her and enact some kind of nuclear revenge, but I don't need that. We won't be friends, but that doesn't mean we have to be enemies. Yes, I paid for lunch, and yes, I gave her a hug goodbye afterwards. I'm not giving her my contact information, but I did add her back on Instagram. I think that's enough. Also, I got an invitation to go to a small country in South America by a remote coworker who found my story on Reddit, seriously considering it. I mean the food. He suggested driving through his country. It's not a big country, so it would only take a couple of weeks. He's a biker and I don't know how to ride one, so I'd just follow him and his girlfriend with a car. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for reacting wrong to my brother's engagement? Plus update. Original post. So on Sunday, I, 19 female, learned on a Zoom call with my family that my brother Harry, 22 male, has just gotten engaged to his girlfriend Jessica, 20 female. When Harry told us, everyone but me was pretty enthusiastic, but I just kind of sighed and said nothing. Harry didn't display any reaction towards my admittedly lukewarm reaction, But afterwards, my mom called me and told me that I was rude for not being excited. She said that I need to respect all members of the family, including Jessica, and that I need to reconsider my behavior if I want to be invited to our vacation in the spring. Harry and I were really close growing up. Since he and then I started college, we've been less close, but him and I still talk every week or two. Harry and Jessica have been together for around 2 years. Here's where it gets complicated. I knew Jessica back in high school, and she was not what you would call a kind soul. She had a particularly nasty streak. She would not pay attention during class and always tried to cheat off of people's homework, and I assume got away with it. She tried semi-successfully to steal my boyfriend. She bullied one of my best friends, calling her fat among other things. This bullying worsened, if not caused altogether, her eating disorder, and it's something I've never been able to forgive or forget. She is just one of those people who would just mess around with other people's lives like it's a game, and not something she is invested in. About 6 months ago, I had a heart-to-heart with Harry about Jessica. I laid out all of my concerns and the history of her behavior, hoping it might make him reconsider or at least think deeply about their relationship. He said that he'd reconsider what I said, but didn't continue the conversation much more. Since then, we talked regularly as usual, and things seemed normal between us. He didn't talk about Jessica often, but he didn't hide their relationship either. I really was happy. It sounded like it might be dying off, though. I had no idea he was getting engaged to her until he announced it. I don't know if he's been telling other people in the family besides me, or if it was really just an abrupt decision. To make it worse, I'm worried that he told Jessica about our conversation 6 months ago. In her announcement on Facebook, annoying ring on hand photograph in tow, she wrote something like, "I know not everyone in our family are supportive, but we have each other and that's what matters." So he ignored my warning and he told her all about it. Part of me wonders if I should just swallow my feelings for the sake of my family harmony, but another part of me feels like I'd be betraying an old friend, my own values, and my brother by pretending to be happy about this engagement. And I'm bad at holding back my truth. So, am I the a-hole for feeling upset and possibly wanting to voice my concerns again, even though it might cause friction in my family? Or should I just keep my feelings to myself and let Harry make his own decisions and mistakes? I just feel like there's nobody who I can talk about this with that will really understand. Edit. Okay, thanks for all the responses, people. I will take some advice, talk to my mom and explain exactly what it is that Jessica has done and try to make her understand. Talk to Harry about our conversation before and find out how much of it he shared with Jessica and how she responded to what I said. Potentially talk to Jessica. Seek therapy. Someday, haha. I'm not really in a position to go no contact with my family, and I still do want them in my life. I might post an update, but also it seems like the rules are kind of strict on that, which is fair. Message me or something if you want to hear what happens, haha. Now for the updates. Update 1. So, a lot of people commented and sent me messages asking for an update to my previous post about unenthusiastic reaction to my brother's engagement announcement. Well, here it is. After reading people's replies, it sounds like the predominant opinion was that while I might not have been the a-hole immediately, I would become one if I kept pushing too hard against my brother's relationship. And I really don't want Harry to think I don't support him or to not talk to me about personal relationship matters. So I pretty much had decided to keep quiet and just go along with whatever Harry wanted. On Tuesday, he messaged me asking if I wanted to be a bridesmaid in Jessica's wedding party or a groomsmaid in his wedding party. After a little bit of back and forth, it became clear that he asked me because he knew that I wasn't totally keen on Jessica. It still wanted me involved with the wedding. I was trying to be supportive, so I said that it would be great to get to know Jessica better by being a bridesmaid, though I wasn't exactly looking forward to the experience. I admit, though, that I had a bit of an ulterior motive. From what I know of Jessica, she completely changes how she acts based on who she is around, which is how she manipulated Harry into proposing, of course. I thought that just maybe if I could show Harry how Jessica acts with her girls, he might reconsider his decision to marry her. Anyway, on Thursday, I got added to a Facebook Messenger chat named Brilliant Bridal bitch ass, whereas Jessica laid out her ground rules for being in the bridal party. They are almost verbatim. Participation in my bridal party is not just an honor, it's an investment. Be prepared to spend at least $1,000 on attire and accessories alone. I can make exceptions, but only if you ask me. I alone will dictate the narrative of my wedding on social media. Any premature posts, especially unflattering photos of me, will result in immediate expulsion. Your weight will be monitored weekly. Anyone not fitting into their dress will be kindly asked to step down. This wedding will look picture perfect, and I cannot have you ruining the aesthetics. From now until the wedding, I expect you to be on call 24/7. Wedding emergencies are real, and your commitment to solving them will be a true test of your friendship. You will fund and organize a lavish bachelorette party in my honor. Think exotic destination, luxury accommodations, and Instagram-worthy moments. You will have fun, not just for your sake, but for me as well. Upon reading this, I just burst out laughing. Screenshot, click. I think I might be able to convince Harry from marrying Jessica after all. I'm just deciding now if I should play it cool and act like the rules are normal, but bring it up with Harry or maybe show my mother because I know it would make her flip. And almost certainly forgive me for sighing when Harry told us about the engagement. Update 2. Thanks for all the advice and support from my whole situation with my brother getting engaged to an incredibly annoying former bully who has been manipulating him. I'm posting an update since a lot of people have asked. I'm going to have to be a bit of a disappointment though. After my last post, a lot of people were suggesting that I should be tricky and go to my mother and ask to borrow money to make the appropriate investment for being in Jessica's bridal party. I thought about that, but realized it would be a little bit too over the top. So instead, I just sent a screenshot of Jessica's rules and a couple of other insane things she posted in the group chat to Harry and asked for his advice, telling him, I know I said that I wanted to join the bridal party to get to know Jessica better, but I'm worried it might not actually be good for me. Do you think I could bail and join your party instead? He called me instead of texting back and definitely sounded pretty surprised by what I showed him. I'm certain that the side of Jessica shown in those rules and other messages, including a new one saying that if your BMI is over 22, you are out of the wedding. In the group chat is not the side of herself that she showed to him. We had a good hour or so of conversation about what things were like between the two of them, and I learned a lot about where he was coming from. From what he told me, it sounds like getting married was really Jessica's idea. She had been going through some tough times later and apparently had struggled with depression in recent years. She's always wanted this perfect wedding and perfect married life. She told him that it would make her feel better and fix all of her issues if he proposed. So Harry, being the good person that he is, did it. He took pity on her even though he didn't really feel ready yet. He says he doesn't regret it though. She's been so much happier since the proposal, he said, and he is no longer worried about her running away or harming herself or worse. That said, he said he was still shocked by what she posted to her girls and said he didn't know what to do next. I told him I am worried about him and his future if he stays with Jessica and goes through with the marriage. He thanked me and hung up. He still sounded pretty shaken. The next day he asked me to call him, so I do that. He explains to me that everything was okay and he talked to Jessica about the whole situation. She told him it was just a joke and the kind of thing her friends are used to sending in their messages. Apparently she apologized and said that it was her fault for not making sure I was on her level. Harry's words trying to quote Jessica, FWIW. I'm pretty skeptical of that though. She seems serious to me. She also seemed serious when she messaged me privately. You are on thin ice. She also sent another message in the main group chat saying, this is all of y'all's reminder that I need your full support and any undermining of my wedding will have serious consequences. So that's where things stand. I told Harry that I don't really believe it was a joke and I believe that Jessica is trying to control him just like she's trying to control her bridesmaids. He just said that he is in a difficult situation. She is stressed out and he trusts her. So that's where things stand. Apparently I'm still in the darn bridal party. Dress stuff is happening in the next week or two. I really thought Harry would come to his senses, but apparently not yet. Now I just need to decide what the heck to do next. Some people have to learn the hard way. That's all for today. If you're enjoying this story, please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you.